Mountain biking is a huge and varied sport. It's full of history and disciplines and characters. And with that in mind, I've taken a deep dive in to find 7 things you might not have known about mountain biking. Now, officially, mountain biking started in the 1970s in Marin County, California, with the repack race. Pioneering riders like Gary Fisher, Tom Ritchie, Charlie Kelly, they took beach cruisers and adapted road bikes and took them off-road, and on the 21st of October 1976 did the first repack race, which I guess we would all recognise as the first downhill race in mountain biking. But did you know, at the same time and even earlier in the 50s and 60s, the Rough Stuff Fellowship in the UK were already out exploring Scotland and Wales on off-road trails, again on adapted road bikes, and creating what we would probably now recognise as the first cross-country riding. So mountain biking has been around maybe a bit longer than we all thought. Now, you might be wondering about the disciplines of mountain biking. What is downhill racing as opposed to cross-country? Well, let's take a look. So downhill is what we would probably recognise as the kind of the F1 of mountain biking. It really is where all of the high-level prototyping and top-notch technology takes place to make these bikes go fast as they can down a specific track. Basically, fastest from the top to the bottom wins. Now, cross-country is totally different. This is an event where it's multi-laps, and basically everyone starts in a mass start at the start line and then basically gets strung out around the course as they do multiple laps, and the person who gets across the line first after a set number of laps or a set amount of time is the winner. But then you've got Enduro, which I guess if downhill is Formula 1, Enduro is probably a little bit akin to rally car, where you've got riders going out and taking on stages, basically multiple downhill races, and then their allotted time for each race stage that they've done is grouped together, and it's an overall time, and the fastest time is the winner. Those are the kind of disciplines that are all about racing. But then, of course, there's the more creative side of mountain biking, the free ride side, where these events are much more about being judged. So a rider will go down into a course and they'll throw their tricks and their moves, and they'll be scored on things like technicality and the amplitude of their run in that particular ride. And the judges decide who was the best at the end of the day. Often it's very clear. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky to decide who was the winner on the actual day, and it creates a bit of argument now and again. But a very creative side to mountain biking that is also a big part of the sport. But of course, you don't have to squeeze yourself into lycra and decide what discipline of mountain biking you're gonna do. Most riders out there basically just see themselves as trail riders and get out on the trails around them, into the wilderness, riding great tracks. And that is basically what I would call real mountain biking. Did you know you don't need to maintain your mountain bike at all? Only kidding. Actually, you really need to maintain your mountain bike. Now, one of the things that really wears out commonly is the chain, and that really affects the drivetrain itself. So the chain itself, the cassette, your chain rings, the derailleur and the jockey wheels. To avoid your chain wearing out, get yourself a chain checker. It's a small tool that measures chain wear by slotting in between the links. As the chain gets more worn, the tool sits further into the chain. If you replace the chain at 0.5% wear, then you can usually get 2 or 3 chains to a cassette before this will need replacing as well. And you could think of it like this. Basically, you could probably get 3 chains worth of use out of your entire drive chain. But there's a lot of power going through all those cogs and wheels, so they do wear down and you do need to look after them. Similarly, you need to look after things like brake pads. They'll wear down. Cables, they're going to get stretched and not be as accurate. So most of these jobs can be performed by yourself if you're confident of following instructions, and with a little bit of help from GMBN Tech Channel 2. Others will need specific tools or skills, so it's best to book in your bike at the local bike shop. Okay, here's a strange one, the cost of entry. You can spend quite a small amount of money on a mountain bike, £500, dollars, euros, that kind of thing, and you've got yourself a mountain bike. But bear in mind that these bikes have got lower quality parts on them and they will wear even quicker than more expensive products. So in the end, a cheap bike is not necessarily the cheapest option, because over time you're going to be spending probably more money on it. So that's something we probably didn't all know. Sometimes it's worth just spending that little bit more and getting a really complete and suitable product for the job of mountain biking. You're also going to need to spend money on things like helmets, pads, particular clothing for mountain biking that's designed especially for being out on the trail and in all sorts of weather. So the cost of entry can be quite high, but if you spend the right money in the right place, it can last quite a long time. Okay, here's something I love to think about, trail centres. Now, bear with me. If you've ever been skiing and you've been to like a skiing resort, you'll be really familiar with like graded runs. So colours denoting what you should expect on the trail and the kind of ability you need to be able to handle that trail. So a green being really easy, and then a blue being a bit more difficult with slightly more technical parts on it, through to a red and then to a black, and even double blacks. So you can go and ride with confidence and know that your ability is going to suit the trail you're taking on. So if you're brand new to the sport, you don't want to go into a double black, because that run isn't going to last very long and probably have a very sharp ending at the hospital. So don't go doing that. Go in at a level that suits your ability on a green, have great fun, and then move through the different graded runs to have a fantastic experience of mountain biking at a trail centre, a place that has got it all and really encapsulates what mountain biking is all about, having a great time with lots of fun riders. Now, you might have thought about this. Hardtail mountain bikes are great for commuting. So if you're someone who rides into work, maybe a hardtail mountain bike could be perfect for you. They've only got a bit of suspension up the front, which means you get a really smooth ride, but you've still got that direct power into the road at the rear end, which means you can put in some really good riding times to work and get there on time. But also on the way home, you can take a slight diversion and get a bit of off-road riding done as you make it home for tea, getting ready for your fantastic off-road ride at the weekend. Now, this is something you might not have thought about, but you probably did expect. Mountain biking has got a fantastic community, whether it be out at the trail centres or at the races or online. Everyone in mountain biking really loves the sport and like to be around others who are like-minded. So get involved in the sport, get involved online. You can go into the comments below any of our videos and you'll see lots of people really eager to talk about mountain biking. It's one of its biggest strengths, a really strong community. They're all lovely people, aren't you guys? Yeah! See, it's great. Well, there you have it. 7 things you might not have known about mountain biking. But let me know in the comments down below, are there some things that people might not know about mountain biking that you'd like to tell them? Or what have you discovered about mountain biking? Get involved in that community down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Give us a love, like and share on social channels. Give the video a like because that helps get it out to more people. And until next time, I'll say goodbye.